NQA with various countries so that we can align our curriculum so that they are recognized when they travel to those other institutions. So it is something that is already being done. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Nyikal. Give Honorable Nyikal the mic.
Honorable Speaker, what the minister is saying is not true. KMTC did not request KUPS to admit for it. It is the other way around. It's KUPS that actually wanted, they didn't even go to KMTC. Through the Ministry of Education and Higher, they actually insisted that they do the admission. And the first admission that was done was actually challenged in court and was ruled that admission was actually illegal and reversed. And I know we had a meeting, and the minister knows, and even the current admission that is going on is actually illegal. There was an advisory from the Attorney General that so long as the law exists, they should not admit, KUPS should not admit. And the fact is, and I don't know whether the minister is aware, that a batch of 2-3 students that are actually in KMTC now are actually illegally admitted, and if somebody were to go to court, it can be successfully challenged. So I think this is something that if we want to change it so that KUPS admits, we actually go through the law and change the law, but not do it by administrative fiat. So I would like, if he's really aware that the current admissions are actually not legal.
I think we've had already three questions that the honorable members, we've already had 4 Joyrider questions. Okay, I'll allow Honorable Raso and then I'll come to Honorable Farah.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have listened to the Cabinet Secretary answering this question. And I was a bit surprised because
ask a question, not a statement. Yes. Ask the question.
KUPS fall under the Ministry of Education, but KMTC fall under Ministry of Health. So in terms of funding, even to KMTCs, does it come from education or from the Ministry of Health? If that is the case, that contradiction, what Honorable Nyikal there is asking, how would you admit students when you yourself, you are not responsible for funding of those KMTCs? Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Farah Mali.
Have the mic? Yeah, Mr. Speaker, whereas we appreciate what the ministry is doing and what KUPS is doing, but it's very clear. It says Kenya universities, university colleges, central placement, KUPS service. This is a diploma course. These are not university courses. KMTC is basically diploma courses. So the law does not cover that. And I think the most important thing is we basically, unless we're able to change the law, we leave it as it is. In any case, KMTC worked as an institution and worked very well. When something is not broken, why try to fix it? So that is that. Unless the law is changed, then of course we will have a lot of litigation in this. And then secondly, he said, the minister said, Honorable, the minister, the CS said that there are 300 spaces for certificate courses. Those are too few for the number of Kenyans who would qualify for certificate courses. And I think the only way to fix this thing, because we are not training only for the domestic market in Kenya, we are training for the international market. Right now, nursing is the most, marketable field where our young graduates can find jobs all over the world, in the developed world. So why don't we then increase, and not only do we do, can we aspire to have a Kenya Medical Training College in every constituency in the country? That way we'll be in a position to take care of that field for international, or what you call labor export. So those are my two questions. One, why didn't you increase the numbers in the meantime, in the interim? Can we have so many more? Don't you have to change the law before we can, we give COPS? COPS does a very good job, there's no question about that. But the law is very clear, and I think we'll have a lot of litigation if you don't fix that now at this stage. Thank you.
Okay, I'll give you one more chance to respond to that, then we can close that question and move to the next one. We'll still have chances to joyride on the other questions coming.
Madam Speaker. It is true that there was a court case that arose out of the question of the placement of KMTC students through COOPS, and that was in 2019, and the letter that was written came after 2019, after the court case. However, Madam Speaker, I would like to inform the House that COOPS has the mandate to do the placement to the colleges under Section 56(1) of the Universities Act that allows COOPS to coordinate placement to universities and colleges of all our students in the country. So that mandate is provided for, and it is the basis of COOPS exercising that mandate or that power to place students in KMTC. In fact, COOPS currently places students to colleges that are domiciled in 18 other ministries. And COOPS was given this duty because of ensuring fairness, equity, and ensuring that there is no unfairness or unfair practices in the placement of the students. That is the basis, and that is the current status as we speak. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. We shall now move to... Yes, what's your point of order, Honorable Russell?
My question, Madam Speaker, is COOPS falls under the Ministry of Education, but KMTCs fall under the Ministry of Health. If they are not able to fund those KMTCs, because I have a KMTC in my constituency that the Ministry of Education has no business with, then how do they go and admit the students in those colleges? That is what the minister must tell us. And secondly, he's saying that the admission has to reflect the balance or the face of the country. Can he supply us with numbers of nurses who are undergoing nursing courses, yet we know the current distribution? That if I have 20 students from Marsabit and all of them cannot get admission into nursing, and somebody else has 1,000, 2,000, then does that reflect the fairness he's talking about? Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Russell, I think already the Cabinet Secretary has undertaken that he will supply the details, because he didn't anticipate that question. He has undertaken that he will supply the details, and it shall be supplied through the department, the Committee on Education. And can you give us a timeline, Cabinet Secretary? Together with the courses as asked by the Honorable Tandaza.
We can submit that data in 2 weeks, Madam Speaker.
Okay, so let it be noted that within 2 weeks, the Cabinet Secretary shall apply the data sought by Honorable Russell and Honorable Tandaza, actually. What's your other what clarification do you require, Honorable Nyikal?
On this point, I think if we can't run a country if we don't say the truth. The request was not from KMTC. If that letter came, it came later, and that it could have come under duress. Two, why is it that if this is they are running it, why is it that the help that is being given to KMT students is actually funds that we budget from the Committee of Health? If this is the institution that is under them and they're running it, why does it need that we give funds for the KMTC to COOPS so that they can get help? There's a contradiction here that all we need to do, change the law. We have the provision to change. And what about the advisory from the Attorney General around the same time of 2019? And if Honorable Waziri will look for facts, then we can actually bring them before Waziri in another committee. Because these are facts that we know were presented before a committee.
Okay, clearly, members, obviously the issue of the legislative challenges and the need to make amendments to the law. And Honorable Nyikal, you can actually promote, you can actually sponsor, your committee can sponsor that amendment. You don't even need the clearance of the minister. Or it can come as a private member's bill. Yes, okay. Thank you, and Honorable Cabinet Secretary, I hope you've noted that is also an issue that has come up, that you need to look at the legislation, apart from the documents that you're going to give members. Then, honorable members, I will then now allow the next question so that we don't deal with one question and ignore other questions that had been approved. There is a question of the Honorable Omboka Milama, which has been, he has requested that it be asked by the Honorable Member for Gilgil, Honorable Martha Wangari. And Honorable Martha Wangari, if you could kindly start with question 13 of 2025 first, and then you go back to 11.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, even for the consideration. Allow me, Madam Speaker, to ask question number 13, 2025. Could the Cabinet, on behalf of the member for Muhaya, Honorable Omboko Milemba, to the Cabinet Secretary. Number one, could the Cabinet Secretary, number one, state plans put in place by the Ministry of Education to ensure that all schools receive capitation to facilitate them during the third term, given that the national examinations are about to commence. Number two, outline the measures being put in place by the Ministry of Education to ensure smooth operations of schools despite the ongoing verification process by sending a minimum of 50% of the capitation expected. Number three, provide the actions being taken by the ministry to uncover the ghost schools that have received funds for both infrastructure capitation and examination purposes. Number four, state the steps being taken to resolve the ongoing university lecturer strike to ensure resumption of learning by the university students. And finally, provide the expected time frame for concluding verification to enable schools to resume normal operations.
CS, please proceed and answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Help me with this, it's falling. Mr. Speaker, I beg to respond to the 4 questions on verification of schools and disbursement of capitation as follows. Mr. Speaker, the Office of the Auditor General recently reported that some of the schools that have received capitation from the Ministry of Education were non-existent. Following this report, the ministry decided to undertake a comprehensive verification exercise to determine the actual number of schools and the actual number of learners in the country. To ensure transparency and accountability in the utilization of public resources, we decided that the capitation shall only be released or disbursed to schools that will have been verified. Mr. Speaker, as at the 7th of October 2025, the ministry has verified a total of 39,752 primary, junior, senior, and special needs education institutions across the country, with a total of 9,430,139 learners. Capitation has been released to these institutions. Mr. Speaker, so far, for secondary schools, the ministry has released a total of 10 billion Kenya shillings out of an allocation of 10.3 billion, which makes 96% of funds released to secondary schools. For junior schools, the ministry has so far released 4.1 billion out of a total of 5.7 billion, making a total of 73% of funds released to junior schools. For primary schools, the ministry has disbursed 821 million out of a total allocation of 1.7 billion, making 48%. Mr. Speaker, the exercise is nearing completion, and we should receive a comprehensive report within the next 1 week when the exercise is intended to be fully completed. In the meantime, we will continue to disburse the full expected capitation for third term to each school upon verification. Therefore, by the end of next week, that is 1 week from today, all verified schools would have received their full expected capitation for term 3. Mr. Speaker, on the question of the steps being taken to resolve the ongoing university lecturer strikes, the strike notices were issued by UASU, KUSU, and KUDHEHA on the 9th and 10th of September 2025 that cited disputes related to the full implementation of 3 CBA cycles, that is the 2017-2021 CBA, non-payment of the second tranche of arrears for the 2021-2025 CBA, and not kickstarting the negotiations for the 2025-2029 CBA. Mr. Speaker, regarding the 2021-2025 CBA, we wish to indicate that the requirements thereunder have substantially been settled. The total financial obligation requirement for this CBA was a total of 9.76 billion, disbursable in 3 tranches as follows. Number 1, 4.3 billion that was for immediate release for the period of October 2024 up to and including June 2025. This amount was fully disbursed. Number 2, 2.73 billion for the financial year 2025-2026. This tranche was to be disbursed in July. It delayed, but it has since been disbursed between the month of July and September 2025. It is fully paid. Number 3 was another 2.73 billion for the financial year 2026-2027, which is to be paid in the coming financial year, that is from July 2026, and their payment is not yet therefore due. So for the CBA of 2021-2025, it is substantially settled, or the issues raised therein have been substantially sorted out. Mr. Speaker, on the 2017-2021 CBAs, the unions contend that although the government disbursed 8.8 billion between the year 2020 and 2021, following the signing of the CBA on the 28th of October 2019, the sum of 7.9 billion remains outstanding. This is in accordance to the unions. However, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, on the other hand, has disputed these claims by the unions. SRC has advised that Kenya shilling 7.2 billion of the 7.9 billion claimed as outstanding has already been paid through normal annual salary increments, leaving a balance of 624 million only. The bone of contention is therefore this difference in interpretation. That is a matter that is intended to be resolved amicably through objective discussions. Mr. Speaker, the industrial action by UASU, KUSU, and KUDHEHA was injuncted by the court, that is by the Employment and Labor Relations Court, on the 18th of September 2025, and the parties were directed to submit conciliation. The strike, as we speak, is therefore unprotected. It is important to note, Mr. Speaker, that in his report dated 30th of September 2025, the conciliator found as follows and filed this report in court. One, that the implementation of the 2021-2025 CBA is up to date and the union members have been paid their dues accordingly. Number two, on the 2025-2029 CBA, the parties were waiting for the negotiation beacons to be provided by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission in line with its legal mandate. It is therefore premature to file a dispute on the 2025-2029 CBA. Indeed, the universities have already invited the unions to start preliminaries of the negotiations as they wait for the beacons from SRC. Number three, on the disputed balances due under the 2017-2021 CBA, the parties and the SRC should undertake an audit of university payrolls to determine how much has been paid and how much is due in order to agree on payment arrangements. Mr. Speaker, the conciliator's report was presented to court during its hearing of the 6th of October 2025. The court allowed the parties to hold a meeting on the 9th of October 2025, which is tomorrow, with a view to addressing the matters of the 2017-2021 CBA. Mr. Speaker, it should be clear that the most of the issues raised by the unions have been addressed. The 2021-2025 CBA is being implemented as agreed, and the government is ready to start negotiations for the 2025-2029 CBA. The issue of the balance under the 2017-2021 CBA necessarily requires an objective verification process to ascertain what is actually owed. The government is committed to this process. I respectfully submit.
Yeah, the Honorable Martha, you will get.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, however important this verification process was, the timing of it was really an inconvenience, Mr. Speaker, because you know we have exams, the NEC exams, we have KPSEA, we have KGISEA, and we have KCSE, and it's a very short term, Mr. Speaker. And my question, Mr. Speaker, because I've been wondering, we speak all the time, and what I need the CS to clarify, we speak all the time about ghost schools and ghost students, and there is no action taken against those people who provide these details, and yet we have actual students suffering and almost missing their examinations, Mr. Speaker. By now, we should have 100%, and in fact, our proposal, Mr. Speaker, was that at least 50% be sent to the schools even as you finish the verification. Because I know I've read in the media sometimes 2 weeks, now the CSA is 1 week. And maybe as he answers that, Mr. Speaker, he can also comment on the migration from NEMIS to chemists, because these structures, Mr. Speaker, are also affecting students even as the migration happens, so that we know exactly what is happening at that point. Maybe I can have that clarification, and by what time? Because he says 1 week. By when? Because schools are closing by 21st, Mr. Speaker, so that we have examinations. And many schools, and I can tell you from my constituency, I have schools struggling, even after the verification, to buy basic things like chalk and pens. So, Mr. Speaker, let that be clear for members. And I know this is a widespread issue, and maybe also the migration on NEMIS can also help, so that when we speak of numbers, we know what exactly we are talking about.
Fair enough. Honorable Giseiro.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I will focus on the response on the strikes for our universities. Honorable Speaker, I think the ministry has really learned the art of hiding behind SRC. And this is not the first time. Honorable Speaker, in regard to the CBA of 2021-2025, which was valued at 9.7 billion, and the strike that was held in 2024, I sat in that committee where the ministry had initially insisted that the CBA was valued at 4 billion, and again hid behind SRC. It is through our committee that we were able to push for the right amount of that CBA, which is 9.7, to be effected. Honorable Speaker, now you are seeing they're talking about the 2017-2021 CBA having been done except for the 624 million. There is nothing further from the truth than that one. Honorable Speaker, the CS, who is a lawyer, did receive an advisory from the Office of the Attorney General, which represented the ministry and government in court. And the advisory, which was in April this year, advised the ministry and government to go ahead and pay the balance of 7.9 billion. Unless the CS is telling this House that the AG's office was wrong, and therefore the government has the wrong advisor and has no clue of their job, for them to come and disown whatever their own advisors advised them, and the ruling of the court is misleading of this House. Honorable Speaker, the young people of this nation are out here in the street, are at home. Lecturers are blowing vuvuzelas on the roads. We need answers